In this video, I'm going to teach you how to run meta ads with conversion data in a HIPAA compliant way. If you are already running meta ads as a medical practice, you've likely found out that it is really hard because getting the data into the ad platform in a HIPAA compliant way requires a lot of technical know-how. However, at the end of this video, you're going to have a good idea of how to do it so that way you can get set up for success and ultimately run profitable ad campaigns within the Meta platform. So let's go ahead and dive into what is the problem. Well, the problem first and foremost is that Meta is not HIPAA compliant. They will not sign BAAs, and the Meta Pixel acts like a giant personal user data vacuum that sends PHI to the Meta servers. And essentially, the reason why they do that is because the Meta platform needs data. Without the data, Meta will not know which ads to display, who to display them to. So Meta and Facebook, they really need to know the identities of the users who are clicking on your ads and who are converting, so that way the algorithm can optimize and give you more conversions at a lower cost per conversion. So if you look at this visual here, this is how the Meta platform normally works. Essentially, you have your website, the Pixel technology is on your website, the Pixel technology sends your data to the Facebook and Google databases, and then also sends the data to the ad platforms to optimize and for the algorithm to just run much more efficiently. If you have a medical website or run a medical practice, then you can't have this pixel on your website because it's sending the data to the Facebook and Google databases, and essentially you're sending PHI to these platforms, which you do not want to do. That's illegal. It'll get you sued. So let's go ahead and dive into the specifics of how this even violates HIPAA. So what violates HIPAA is when you send two types of information into a non-compliant destination. The first type of information is the 18 personal HIPAA identifiers. These are things that identify users, such as name, IP address, which the Pixel picks up automatically, address of the user, phone number, email. It's bits of information that you can use to then trace to a specific person. And if you send that group of data along with any sort of health information to a non-compliant destination, then you are violating HIPAA. And essentially, that health information can be not as deep as you think it is, right? It could be that somebody visits a certain page. So if somebody visits a certain page about heart surgery and you send the event page view for heart surgery along with the user's IP address, which the Pixel will do automatically, then you are violating HIPAA. So you have to be very careful in terms of how you architect the data that you send to these ad platforms. Otherwise, you're going to violate HIPAA and you run the risk of getting sued. I'm going to give you a step-by-step strategy on how you can send data to these ad platforms without violating the health information piece of this equation. So before we dive into that, though, it is important to note that lawsuits are on the rise. They're everywhere, and medical companies are getting cracked down on left and right. As you can see here in this image, there are, well over 10 examples here of different companies that have gotten sued recently for violating HIPAA. Just last year, GoodRx got slapped with a $1.5 million lawsuit. BetterHelp got slapped with a $7.8 million lawsuit. And Aspen Dental got slapped with a $3.5 million lawsuit. This is just last year, and these numbers are going up. I expect 100+ lawsuits to happen in 2024, and more than that to happen in 2025, simply just because the government is cracking down. It's getting harder to defend the claims of you didn't know. It's getting harder to defend claims of marketers didn't know that the data was going into these platforms. So it's really important to go ahead and protect yourself. Otherwise, you run the risk of bankrupting your company and really just putting your organization in jeopardy. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into how to run HIPAA-compliant meta campaigns. And what we're going to cover is some of the things you must do. You must remove the pixel from your website. You must set up server-side tracking. You must store the click IDs in the server, and then you must send this data from your server into the ad platforms. So let's start with the first step, which is removing the Facebook pixel. So you can see if you have the Facebook pixel on your website by downloading this Chrome extension called Meta Pixel Helper, or if you want to see if you have the Google Pixel, you can use the Google Tag Assistant. And essentially what you need to do is you need to go to your website, and essentially what you need to do is you need to go to your website, and if you have the Chrome extension and you have the pixel on your website, then the Chrome icon is going to then the Chrome icon is going to highlight. So as you can see here, the pixel helper detected this pixel ID on my website, and I just sent the page view event to the conversion ad platform, and I just sent the page view event to the ad platform along with my IP address. So if I was a medical practice, this would be illegal and I would be violating HIPAA. So remove the pixel entirely from your website. It's a data vacuum. It tracks everybody's address, it tracks everybody's IP address, and you just run the risk of sending sensitive health data along with personal data, the IP address, into the ad platform too easily, thus violating HIPAA. So just go ahead and remove the pixel entirely. And instead what you want to do is you want to set up server-side tracking. So when a conversion event happens inside of your platform, you want to send that conversion event data to your server or your database. You can also send it into a CDP, which I'll touch on in a little bit. But essentially, in your server, what you're going to do is you're going to scrub the data of PHI, and then you're going to send that data back into the ad platform. I'll get into a little bit what this looks like further on in this video, but this is the high level. You need to store these conversion events in your database, scrub them in PHI, and then send them to the ad platform. Another thing that you need to add in is the click IDs. So you need to add these into your database. Essentially, a click ID is a URL parameter that the Meta platform gives you when somebody clicks one of your ads. And if you can see in my example here, let me just try to zoom in. When I clicked on one of my ads, it appended this FB click ID to the URL. This is a Facebook generated ID specific to me clicking on the URL. And what you need to do is you need to take this URL, you need to store it into your database with the conversion event. So that way Facebook is able to see, okay, this person clicked on this ad, here's their click ID that has the conversion event next to it, and the next step is going to be to send it into the ad platform. If you're not technical, you're going to be unable to do this, but this click ID needs to be stored into the database along with the conversion event, so that way Facebook is able to see who clicks on the ID and then ultimately who converts, because we're going to be sending this back to the ad platform so that way the algorithm can do its thing. And then when you have all this data inside of the database, you want to send it to the ad platforms. So essentially what you want to do is somebody books an appointment on your website. In your database, you want to aggregate that person's email, their ad click ID, and conversion action. Just for the sake of this video, let's call it lead generated. And then you can send that data to Facebook via the server or the Google ad platform via the server without violating HIPAA. And you might be wondering, how is this the case? Well, it's the case because we are not sending any health information. Remember, PHI is a personal identifier with health information. In this case, we have personal identifiers such as email, ad ID clicked, and then we have a conversion action which we're giving an arbitrary name of lead generated, and we're sending it into Facebook for it to optimize and for the algorithm to do its thing to find leads that look just like this. We're not sending any health information. However, if we named our conversion action scheduled appointment for heart transplant, then that would be considered health information and we would be violating HIPAA. So you have to be very careful around what you name these conversion actions, because if you name them something specific to any sort of health information, then you're going to be violating HIPAA. So you want to give this conversion action a somewhat arbitrary name. And when you do this, you're going to have a lot of dramatic results because the algorithm is going to be able to optimize for people who are likely to book with you, and you're going to get a much lower cost per customer acquisition. In fact, there's not going to be many things that have such a dramatic impact on your business as this. For instance, this is one of our dental customers, and what we were able to do with them by setting up Facebook ads the right way is we were able to reduce their conversions from 168 per form conversion all the way down to 92, and we were essentially able to double the amount of conversions that they were getting. So you can drastically reduce the amount of money that you spend per conversion while scaling your campaign and ultimately growing your business in a very scalable way. So highly, highly recommend setting up your Facebook ads in a way that is HIPAA compliant, because it's going to have a drastic impact on the scalability of your business, because now you're going to be able to acquire people online, which many of your competitors still can't do. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. Again, I'm Austin, a partner at Outliant, and looking forward to hearing from you.